All right, roll, please.
Mr. Hartman?
Present.
Mr. Porter?
Present.
Mr. Bonner?
Present.
Mrs. Corzine?
Present.
Mr. Dennis?
Present.
The meeting is being streamed live and digitally recorded. And we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Tripp, would you like to introduce those that are going to lead us?
So we have 4 young men and women from Chillicothe Intermediate School who will be leading us in the pledge. We'll also honor them very closely after that. We have 2 4th graders, Miles Rathkamp and Caitlin Lowry, a 5th grader, William Lawson, and 6th grader, Matt Williams. So you guys come on up.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Okay, do we have a motion to adopt the board agenda with the addendum, please?
So moved.
Second by Sean? Oh, Dick Kelly, sorry. Mr. Dennis. All right, roll, please.
Mr. Hartman?
Yes.
Mr. Porter?
Yes.
Mr. Bonner?
Yes.
Mrs. Corzine?
Yes.
Mr. Dennis?
Yes.
All right, presentations and recognitions. Debbie?
Okay, I'm going to ask Mr. Tripp to come up. He's going to introduce Ms. Bonner to talk about the art contest winners at the intermediate. And then he's also going to do a presentation just to kind of give you an overview of what's happening at Chillicothe Intermediate School.
So on my ritual Sunday is watching CBS Sunday Morning, and we were watching some of the ways that the nation was preparing for the 20th anniversary of 9/11. So I started texting Mrs. Bonner, and I said, hey, what can we do to honor 9/11? So she and I kind of came up with this art contest, and at the drop of a hat, she just changed her entire plans for the entire week. We were really worried when Mr. Maybrier retired last year. Those were some pretty big shoes to fill, and she's doing a pretty nice job of it so far. So you kind of want to talk about how you...
Yeah. So as a school, each class that I had, we came together and we discussed what happened, the history of September 11th, 2001, how it made people feel on the day and how we still feel today. They were able to put themselves in my shoes. I was a 5th grader when it happened, so we developed kind of a camaraderie. And based on the history that they learned, what they learned about respect and honor, they were tasked to create artwork. And Mr. Tripp and I went through all of the submissions. It was optional. They didn't have to do it, but boy, did we have a huge turnout. And it was a really hard job to go through all of these artworks. We have multiple honorable mentions per grade, but ultimately there were 4 grand prize winners. And when I call your name, you can come on up and show your artwork. So we'll start with William Lawson and Matt Williams, Caitlin Lowry, and Miles Rathkamp. Come on up. So these artworks really stood out to us above the rest. They worked very hard on them. They put a lot of detail into what they wanted to show. And they were all very different. And we really loved them.
So we scanned all of the grand prize winners along with honorable mentions and posted those on Facebook. So if you want to get a closer look at those, feel free to do it there. I will say the scanned versions just didn't capture the real thing. Like Miles did a watercolor. You can't capture that through a scanned image. That was really powerful. All of the grand prize winners won a goodie bag with some crayons and some candy, and also a young adult book about 9/11. So.
Oh, and we had such a good turnout, we decided to make this an annual contracts.
Give it back. Just play those at the school, so if you want to stop by and see them, let us know.
All right. Thank you. That's very nice.
Tripp, you're up next.
I apologize to you and all of you who came. I didn't intend for this to be the CIS night, but it just naturally happened that way. I was speaking with Debbie a couple months ago about one of the great opportunities that our kids are benefiting from. And I didn't feel that it should just be housed within our little building and all the good news that's happening in our school. I really wanted the board to realize some of the services that we're getting through some of our contracted services. So Chris Myers, if you want to come on up. Chris is the owner, operator, CEO, and grand poobah of Occupational Therapy Works. She is the contractor that we use for all of our occupational therapy services. And I want to say, when did we apply for that?
That was before the,
It was like before
right
COVID.
before the shutdown. yeah.
Before we shut down, her occupational therapy assistant kind of approached me and Debbie Lawwell about a grant opportunity that she had been thinking about applying on our behalf. So Leslie Young, she's the CODA that works under Chris, and with the support of Chris and Debbie Lawwell, we applied for the Landrum Endowment Grant, and we received about $4,200 worth of grant funds that were able to purchase a lot of really cool equipment for our building that otherwise we either would have had to go without or use it from the general fund. So Chris is going to talk a little bit about our plans for the use of that, and I know that, or I think you were all provided a copy of some of the things that were purchased.
So, and there's an explanation of some of the equipment and how they are used. One of our motivations in using this was not only to incorporate the sensory equipment into our treatment sessions, which we have done, and utilizing that, on an ongoing basis, but also we were looking at doing a sensory motor lab, which is through a program called Ready Body Learning Minds, and it is was developed by a physical therapist, and she found through her research that movement and vestibular input, proprioceptive input, which is what a lot of this equipment provides, also can affect and improve reading and writing and those types of scores for our kiddos. So our plan, now that we can kind of move forward, we kind of had to put some things on pause with COVID because we couldn't, do a lot of those types of things, is to get some baseline scores. There's a screening form that comes with it that I've obtained and purchased. And we'll be utilizing that to try to see if that could be incorporated into our general ed kiddos as well, and to see if that will help improve some of those scores. So that's our goal, and so hopefully that's what will happen.
You guys have any questions or anything?
Oh, it all looked very interesting and a nice setup.
Chris and her staff, they serve a lot of kids in our school district, and they all just do a great job, and we really appreciate them.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and we appreciate the opportunity.
If you want to come see the Motor Lab in action, give me a call and I'll set you up with some times. It's very busy.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Tripp.
All right, next is public participation. Welcome to visitors to this and all board meetings. The board desires citizens of the district to attend its meetings so that they may become better acquainted with the operations and programs of the schools, and so that the board may have an opportunity to hear the wishes and ideas of the public. All meetings of the board are open to the public and the media. If you are planning to speak, we had asked that you fill out a form and Remarks are limited to 3 minutes with no more than 3 speakers per topic. Debbie will call you up based on the forms that were filled out. Jeff will be timing. And just a reminder, the purpose of the public participation portion of the meeting is for members of the public to express viewpoints and public concerns. It is not intended to be a forum of discussion with the board. A written response to public participation will be provided by the board within 10 business days. Did we have anyone?
Yes. Julie Letterston. I now know why he had it over there.
Pardon?
I wish they could see a little bit better.
I don't think there's a microphone up there.
Is there not one? Does this work, Tyler?
Depends on my mood. I mean, no, just.
I heard something good. Let's see if that works.
Check.
Yeah, it's a little bit persnickety.
Check, check. Okay. Hopefully I can take this off for just a couple minutes here. Good evening. Julie Wetterston of 536 Lynn Street. Thank you for allowing me here tonight to speak once again. And thank you to those that reached out to me personally after the last meeting. I sure do appreciate it. Here I am shaking again. Okay. Most of you probably remember me coming last time to talk about the studies on the ineffectiveness and ill effects on children from masking, as well as the legal liabilities of universal masking. I believe some of you truly want the best for our kids and that you believe your medical mandates are in their best interest, and I thank you for that. I hope you all received and had time to read the PDF of Stephen Petty's presentation that I emailed to each one of you. Stephen Petty's affidavit is currently attached to several federal lawsuits currently in play against local school boards for mask requirements, including several in Ohio. I brought a copy here with me today. If anyone is an expert, he is an expert. Based on Mr. Petty's expertise in the industrial hygiene field, we would be much better served to spend our funds on exposure control measures such as engineering controls of dilution, ventilation with increased fresh air, and destruction that should be used to minimize exposure as opposed to masks. Each and every one of you took an oath of office to uphold the Ohio Constitution. What we're doing here with mask mandates is compelling children and adults, for that matter, to participate in a healthcare system. This is in direct violation of the Ohio Constitution, Article 1, Section 21, in the Bill of Rights and the Constitution in the state of Ohio. I have filed an affidavit attesting to this, and it is filed, stamped, and attached to the writ of mandamus filed against Governor DeWine this month in the Ohio Supreme Court. I have asserted mine and my child's rights under the Ohio Constitution, Article 1, Section 21. Article 1, Section 21 states this: no federal, state, or local law or rule shall compel, directly or indirectly, any person, employer, or healthcare provider to participate in a healthcare system. CCSD is mandating that children and teachers comply with their healthcare protocols, and they are compelling families to participate in the system by levying penalties if they don't comply. The last letter put out by the district from the superintendent stated they were following the COVID-19 health and prevention guidance for Ohio K through 12 schools, 2021 through 2022 school year. This document at the current time does nothing more than to strongly recommend those that are unvaccinated wear a mask while in school. Recommendations are not mandates or laws. It also states additional measures such as improving ventilation are options. Wouldn't that be a better option for use of our funds than masking the kids with ineffective, dangerous masks? I have a question for the board this evening, and I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I would like an answer, yes or no, here very shortly, about ESSER funding. I've done research, and it does state, based on what I've found, that the American Rescue Plan provides ESSER funds to schools that require universal masking.
Your time is up, ma'am.
Thank you. So quickly, if I could just say, I see that Chillicothe City School District is slated to receive $15,882 from the American Rescue Plan, which is $57,2333 per child. So I just want to know if those guidelines require that we do universal masking. And my time is up. Thank you.
Probably butchered that. Sorry about that.
Good evening, or I guess it's still afternoon. My name is Adrienne D'Souza. I'm the president of the Ross County NAACP. I have emailed Superintendent Debbie Swinehart and the board, so they are aware of what I'm getting ready to say. I was troubled by a picture that I saw on Facebook about a month ago after school started, and it was a picture of the new hires for the Chillicothe City school system. There wasn't one person of color in that picture. And I did later find out that there was actually a person of color that was supposed to be in that picture, but for some reason he declined to do so. I graduated from Chillicothe High School in 1982. My daughter graduated from Chillicothe High School in 2004. At that time, we had plenty of teachers of color. We had Dr. Lucian Yates. We had Terry Davis. We had Beverly Gray. We had Lorraine Washington. We had administrators like Rachel Foster. We had people that were in the athletic department like we have now. When my daughter graduated, there were plenty of people of color, but we are lacking people of color. And so I did some research on why teachers of color matter for students of colors to succeed. Research shows that having a teacher of color can help students of color reach better outcomes, but the benefits extend to all young people, preparing them to live and work in an increasingly diverse society. When it comes to improving outcomes for students, especially Black students, teachers of color make a powerful difference. But according to a 2014 study, not only are they underrepresented in the workforce, they also leave the profession at a higher rate than their white peers, citing isolation and lack of support as a primary reason for leaving. How are they effective? Teachers of color force classrooms to break down negative stereotypes, help students understand and confront racism, and prepare students to live in a multicultural society. As for many students of color, a teacher's impact can be life-changing. A 2018 study found that Black students who had a single Black teacher were 13% more likely to enroll in college. With 2 Black teachers, that number jumped to 32%. For Black boys, the impact is even more powerful. Having a Black teacher cut through high school dropouts rates by 39% for Black boys from low-income families. It's not just because they're seeing a role model who looks like them, though the research says that does matter.
Your time is up, ma'am.
We need to have more teachers of color in our Chillicothe City school system. We need to have more people who look like the students that are represented here, and not just in the cafeteria, not just with athletics, not just janitorial, but people and teachers, educators, administrators. In the past, Chillicothe City school system has worked with the NAACP to help recruit educators to this area. And I know it's been very challenging because they don't want to move to a small area. They want to live in a bigger city like Columbus, like Cincinnati, like Cleveland, like Dayton. But there's something that Chillicothe City School Board needs to do. You need to come up with a benefit package. We're talking about first-time teachers who can make $45,000 to $49,000. I've seen the paperwork in your system.
So there's something that you need to do. If you need to work with the NAACP once again to recruit, let
Ma'am,
us help you.
ma'am, your time is up.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
We appreciate the comments from both speakers today. Thank you very much. Next, we have our student liaison report. Emma?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to present to the board this month the perspective of the students in the school district. Starting with the primary school, Mrs. Hurst gave me some second graders to talk to. The consensus was that school is fun, especially the announcements. They enjoy music, art, math, and gym. They also like their teachers, especially Mrs. Meyer. In the intermediate, I talked to some sixth graders in Miss Rosman's class. They like the school and they enjoy ELA class. They are looking forward to the skating parties that happen every other month. Also, they get a chance to go to Triple Crown at the end of the semester and Kings Island at the end of the year for their PBIS prize. I also talked to some fifth graders. They like their teachers at Mrs. Hall and Mrs. Bryant and making new friends. Their favorite subjects were math and reading. They are excited about their field trip to Buzzard's Roost and the picnic in the park. The middle schoolers like their classes and the school. They enjoy the announcements, calling them fun and cool. They like being able to choose electives on their class schedules. They don't like IXL or Alex. In their intervention period, they would prefer if they could do homework instead of assigned work. And Leader in Me seems more like busy work, and they would rather spend time doing other things like starting clubs. In the high school, the students are excited about the upcoming homecoming dance, especially the people who have never been. The seniors are happy that the school year is getting as close to normal as it can. The juniors are happy that they finally get early release. The sophomores are excited about no longer being classified as freshmen, and the freshmen are happy that they are no longer in middle school. Across the board, there is some dislike against the new grading scale. Some kids just don't like it, others don't like it but understand why it was needed, and some like the grading scale or are indifferent towards it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Emma. And you need to leave for volleyball practice. That's perfectly fine. Thanks for your report.
Thank you.
All right, next is legislative update. I do not have anything. I don't know. I asked Deb earlier. Do you know of anything, Debbie?
You know, there's always something they're trying to do, but nothing.
But it just never happens fast enough. Okay, next are board action items. If I could get a motion for board action items 1 through 6, please.
I'll make a motion for that.
All right, thank you, Bill. Is there a second? Mr. Porter? Okay. And any discussion? Roll, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, next, treasurer reports and recommendations. Deb?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Hartmus, seconded by Mr. Porter. Roll, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Superintendent recommendations, Debbie?
Okay, I'd like to recommend A through E, but I'd like to also point out that on your addendum, we had the retirement of Tim Kennard, and he's been with the district 26 years. So we'd like to thank him for that, but he's on here as a retirement. So A through E.
Is there a motion to approve?
Let's ask a question. Is the sub raise going to 150 a day?
145.
All right.
Hopefully that'll help. Thank you.
Mr. Hartmus, second? I'll second. Roll, please. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
All right, discussion and informational items. I didn't see anything on here. Did anybody have anything for that? All right, board member comments. I have a few. As you stated, Debbie, I saw Mr. Kennard's retirement notice, and I want to thank him for his 26 years in the district. It's a long time, and we certainly will miss him when he's gone, but glad he's going to be here throughout the rest of the school year. And also, the Marching Cavaliers received a superior rating at Zanesville this past weekend and qualified for state marching band finals. That's the first time in over 15 years. So we're very proud of them and wish them luck. Special congrats to Michelle Carpenter, all band staff, and all the band members. And then a thank you to Mrs. Hurst for having me over Friday at the primary building to help with the debut of the Woot Woot Wagon. That was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Anybody else have any comments?
Just thank you for those who came and spoke tonight in front of the board. We appreciate your comments, and all these things we don't, we take consideration from the public on our decisions, but thank you for speaking, and continue to voice your concerns if you have anything.
Okay, there are no other comments. Okay, if no other comments, we'll enter into executive session to discuss the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of public employees or regulated individuals, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee or regulated individual unless such person requests a public hearing, and consider the purchase or sale of property, the discussion of matters required to be kept confidential by federal law, rules, and state statute. Is there a motion to move into executive session?
I'll make a move.
Thank you, Mr. Bonner. Is there a second? Mr. Porter? Roll, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. And time into executive session is 5:27. Don't expect there to be any action taken afterwards. Thank you all for being here tonight.